Have you ever noticed how easily someone's careless words or actions can ruin what felt like a perfectly good day? Maybe it was an offhand remark, a rude comment, a thoughtless gesture, or even something as small as an unexpected inconvenience that threw you off balance. In that moment, it feels frustrating, unfair, even heavy, almost as if someone reached into your life and took away your peace. But here's the truth we often forget. No one, absolutely no one, has the power to control your emotions unless you hand that power over to them. Now pause for a second and imagine this. What if you could remain calm, steady, and unshaken no matter what life or anyone else throws your way? What if you could walk through your day with a peace so deep that even the most irritating situations could not rattle you? This is not just some idealistic dream, it's called emotional mastery. In this journey, we'll explore 10 powerful lessons that will help you stop reacting impulsively, release unnecessary anger, and regain full control of your emotional state. These lessons are not about pretending you don't care, ignoring your feelings, or forcing yourself to be numb. Rather, they're about building the mental resilience and clarity to handle life's challenges with strength and grace. Whether it's facing criticism, learning to set healthy boundaries, or letting go of grudges that weigh you down, you'll discover practical strategies that can protect your peace and strengthen your confidence. By the time you finish, you'll not only have new tools, you'll also carry a new mindset, one that allows you to remain unbothered even in the most difficult circumstances. So if you're ready to uncover the secret to emotional freedom, to live in a way where no one else has the power to dictate your mood, then let's begin. Your journey to mastering your emotions starts now. 1. Understand that your reactions are always your choice. Picture this. You're in the middle of a calm, peaceful day. Maybe you're enjoying a warm cup of coffee or strolling through the park with ease. Then, out of nowhere, someone says something rude or inconsiderate. Suddenly, your calm is shattered and replaced with frustration or anger. You might even think, why did they ruin my day? But here's the deeper reality. They didn't ruin anything. You did. Your emotions are your responsibility, not theirs. No one else can control how you feel unless you give them that power. The world will always present you with challenges, but your reactions remain yours to choose. Think of it like this. Imagine wearing noise-cancelling headphones in a loud, chaotic city. The cars are honking, people are shouting, the noise is everywhere, but it doesn't reach you. Mastering your reactions works the same way. The chaos of other people's behavior doesn't disappear, but it loses its power to disturb your inner peace. As one wise thought reminds us, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is where mastery lives. Let's ground this in a real-world example. Imagine you're in a meeting and a co-worker dismisses your idea without much thought. The immediate reaction might be irritation or resentment. But instead of snapping back or carrying that resentment for the rest of the day, you can pause, take a breath, ask yourself, is this really about me, or is it about them, their stress, their bias, their perspective? By reframing, you strip away their ability to invade your peace. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. Anger, frustration, and disappointment are natural. What matters is whether you let those emotions dictate your actions. Your feelings are valid, but they don't have to be in charge. Here's a simple 3-step practice to start training this mindset. Pause and identify when you feel triggered. Stop for a moment. Name the emotion you're experiencing. Anger, hurt, irritation. Naming it breaks the automatic cycle. Ask questions. Reflect on why you're really feeling this way. Is it because of the event itself, or because of the meaning you attach to it? Choose your response. Decide consciously how you want to act, not based on the heat of the moment, but on your deeper values and your long-term peace. When you practice this, something incredible happens. The rude stranger, the unfair criticism, the small inconveniences, they all lose their grip on you, because you remember every single time, my reaction is my choice, and in that choice, you reclaim your freedom. 2. Stop expecting people to behave like you. Here's another lesson that transforms how you see others. So often, disappointment creeps in when people fail to meet our unspoken expectations. Maybe you always go out of your way for friends, but when you need them, they're nowhere to be found. You think, how could they be so inconsiderate? I would never treat them that way. And perhaps that's true, you wouldn't. But here's the hard truth. People don't live by your standards. They act according to their own, expecting others to think, behave, or respond exactly as you would is like trying to control the weather. It's impossible, and it only leaves you frustrated. Every person is walking their own path, shaped by different experiences, values, and priorities. When someone behaves poorly, it's more a reflection of them than of you. Trying to change or control them drains your energy and keeps you powerless. For example, let's say you have a coworker who constantly interrupts during meetings. You could stew in anger, silently fume, or try to force them to change. Or you could accept that. This is their nature, their habit, their behavior. Recognizing that their actions have nothing to do with you frees you from unnecessary emotional turmoil. A timeless truth captures this beautifully. Expectations are the root of all suffering. The more rigidly you expect others to behave, in ways that align with your values, the more disappointed you will be. But when you let go of those expectations, you protect your peace. Here's a practical way to train yourself in this lesson. Acknowledge your assumptions when someone frustrates you. Ask, what was I expecting them to do? Challenge that. Expectation, reflect. Is it realistic to expect them to act exactly as I would? Usually, the answer is no. Shift your focus. Instead of trying to change their behavior, focus on your own response. Protect your calm. Think about how liberating this is. The rude stranger, the inconsiderate coworker, the forgetful friend, none of them can control your emotions unless you hand over that power. When you stop expecting people to live by your standards, you reclaim your peace. Now, this doesn't mean tolerating abuse or abandoning your values. It simply means understanding this. People are who they are, not who you want them to be. And that's okay, because you always have the choice to respond with clarity and strength. The next time someone disappoints you, pause and remind yourself, they are acting from their nature, not mine, and I choose how I respond. In that choice lies your true freedom. You gain freedom not just from the actions of others, but from the emotional weight those actions once carried. 3. Let go of the need to always be right. Think back to the last argument you had. Maybe it was something trivial, like which road was faster to take. Or maybe it was something heavier, like a disagreement with a partner or close friend. As the discussion escalated, did you feel that powerful urge to prove your point, to show them that you were right and they were wrong? We've all been there, clinging to our version of the truth as though it were a lifeline. But here's the question worth asking. Why do we cling so tightly to being right? The answer is often insecurity. Deep down, we sometimes believe that being wrong threatens our worth, our identity, or the respect others give us. And so, proving ourselves becomes a way to protect our fragile sense of value. But here's the paradox. The more you fight to be right, the more peace you lose. A simple but profound question can change your perspective. Would you rather be right, or would you rather be at peace? Most of the time, our insistence on winning an argument doesn't actually solve anything. Instead, it creates tension, damages relationships, and leaves us frustrated. On the other hand, letting go of that need allows us to remain calm, preserve our energy, and approach conflicts with curiosity rather than defensiveness. Imagine someone accuses you of something unfair. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to argue your case, or to point out their flaws in return. But what if, instead, you paused and asked yourself, is this worth my energy? Will proving them wrong actually change anything important? In my life, 9 times out of 10, the honest answer is no. For instance, maybe a friend insists that their way of solving a problem is better than yours. Instead of diving into a heated debate, you could simply respond, I see where you're coming from, and I respect your perspective. With that one sentence, you've diffused the tension. You've kept your calm, and you've avoided turning a small difference into unnecessary conflict. The Taoist philosopher, Lao Tzu, captured this wisdom perfectly. He who is attached to his views will never grow. Clinging to being right not only steals your peace, it also closes the door to growth now. Letting go of the need to be right doesn't mean silencing your voice or abandoning your values. It means being wise enough to choose when to engage and when to let go. Here are some steps you can practice. Pause before responding. When you feel that urge to argue, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Seek understanding. Instead of trying to win, ask questions. Explore the other person's perspective. This often softens conflict and builds respect. Pick your battles. Save your energy for disagreements that truly matter, ones that align with your values or impact important outcomes. Over time, you'll discover a new kind of freedom. You'll feel lighter, calmer, more centered. Arguments will lose their grip on your emotions because you'll have chosen peace over pride. And in that choice, you'll realize something profound. Your value isn't tied to winning debates or proving your intelligence. It's measured by how gracefully you protect your energy and maintain your inner calm. The next time you're tempted to argue, pause and remind yourself, being right won't make me happy, but being calm will. In that moment, you'll taste the true power of letting go. Point 4. Stop letting others' words define your worth. Picture this. You're excitedly sharing an idea, something you're truly passionate about, when suddenly someone interrupts with a dismissive or harsh comment. Their words sting, and in an instant, the confidence you felt disappears. Why does this happen? Because too often, we allow other people's words to dictate how we see ourselves. But here's the truth. Your worth is not determined by someone else's opinion. It's not tied to their compliments, their criticisms, or their judgments. The moment you let others define you, you hand them control over your emotions. Emotional freedom begins when you take that power back. Consider this example. A colleague criticizes your work not constructively, but harshly, even personally. Your instinct may be to argue back or to internalize their words, feeling discouraged. But what if, instead, you paused and reminded yourself, their words reflect their perspective, not my value. When you separate your worth from someone else's opinion, you reclaim your peace and stay focused on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own. Think about that. We place other people's fleeting judgments above our own deep knowledge of ourselves. That's not strength, that's surrender. This doesn't mean you should ignore feedback altogether. Constructive criticism is valuable and helps you grow. But unwarranted negativity, those careless or cruel remarks, don't deserve space in your mind. Here's how to start guarding your worth. Pause before reacting. When words sting, breathe. That pause breaks the chain of impulsive reaction. Separate fact from opinion. Ask, is this statement true, or is it just their perspective? Hold on to what helps you grow. Let the rest fall away. Reaffirm your worth. Remind yourself, my value is intrinsic, not dependent on anyone else's approval. Lao Tzu offers another reminder. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. Letting go of the need for validation doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop being imprisoned by opinions that don't serve your growth. When you practice this, something shifts inside you. Negative comments no longer pierce your heart the way they once did. You stop being swayed by every criticism or compliment, and instead, you anchor yourself in your own truth. The next time someone's words shake your confidence, pause and ask yourself, am I letting this define me, or am I choosing to stand in what I know about myself? In that decision, you reclaim your power, and you remind yourself that no one, not a critic, not a stranger, not even a loved one, can diminish your worth unless you allow them to. True strength lies not in avoiding criticism, but in knowing your worth regardless of it. When you stop letting words define you, you create space for authenticity, unshakable confidence, and a peace that no one can take from you. 5. Protect your energy by setting boundaries now. Imagine this. You're in the middle of a busy day. working on something important, or finally taking some time for yourself. When a friend calls asking for help with a task they could easily handle. Or perhaps a coworker suddenly dumps a last-minute responsibility on you, assuming you'll say yes. You feel the tug of obligation, but also the frustration because you know saying yes will disrupt your plans, drain your energy, and leave you resentful. Why is it so hard to say no? Because we fear disappointing others. We fear being seen as selfish or unkind. But the truth is this: every time you say yes to things that drain you, you are saying no to your own peace, your own priorities, and your own well-being. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They are the healthy lines you draw to protect your time, your energy, and your emotional stability. Without boundaries, you become a sponge, absorbing everyone else's needs while neglecting your own. With boundaries, you become a balanced, grounded person who can give generously without losing yourself. Think of it like this: if your phone battery is always on 1%, you can't be fully present for anyone. Setting boundaries is how you recharge. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Here are some steps to start building stronger boundaries. Recognize your limits. Be honest about how much time and energy you actually have. Communicate clearly. Saying no doesn't have to be rude. You can decline with respect. I'd love to help, but I can't right now. Prioritize your peace. Remember, saying yes to yourself is just as important as saying yes to others. Protecting your energy means you stop scattering yourself thin. You learn to give where you can give fully, and to step back where your presence only creates resentment. Over time, you'll notice the difference. You'll feel lighter, calmer, and more in control of your life because your time and energy are finally aligned with your values. 5. Protect your energy by setting boundaries. Here's the truth: protecting your peace requires setting boundaries. And let's make this clear: boundaries are not selfish, they are necessary. Without them, you allow others to dictate your time, your energy, and even your emotional well-being. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are also saying no to yourself, to your priorities, to your health. A powerful reminder to carry with you is this: you can't pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving without protecting your own energy, you will eventually feel burned out, resentful, and disconnected from your own needs. Boundaries are not about pushing people away, they are about safeguarding your emotional freedom, while still maintaining healthy, balanced relationships. Think about it. When someone repeatedly oversteps your limits, it isn't always their fault. More often, it's because you haven't clearly defined or upheld your boundaries. People aren't mind readers. Unless you communicate what you are and are not okay with, they will keep pushing, sometimes intentionally, but often without realizing it. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, and when you respect yourself enough to draw those lines, you teach others to respect you too. For example, maybe you are the friend everyone calls for advice even late at night. You want to be supportive, but it's draining your energy. Instead of silently resenting them or answering out of guilt, you could say, "I care about you, but I need to keep my evenings for rest. Let's talk tomorrow instead." Notice how that's both kind and firm. It protects your peace without damaging the relationship. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the ability to live as we wish. Living freely doesn't mean ignoring others. It means being intentional about where your energy is best spent. Boundaries give you the ability to choose your priorities instead of being pulled in every direction. Here's how you can begin setting boundaries effectively. Be clear and honest. Communicate your limits calmly and directly. People are more likely to respect boundaries when they understand them. Use I statements. Speak from your perspective. I need some quiet time. After work is healthier than you're always bothering me. Stick to your boundaries. Consistency matters. Once you set a boundary, uphold it. This shows others you are serious about protecting your space. Lao Tzu offered wisdom that fits perfectly here. He who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble. Knowing your limits and respecting them is a shield against unnecessary stress and frustration. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They are bridges to healthier, stronger relationships. The next time you feel overwhelmed or taken for granted, ask yourself, have I clearly communicated my needs? Am I honoring my own limits? When you start setting boundaries, you free yourself from unnecessary obligations. You reclaim your energy for what truly matters. Remember, your responsibility is not to manage everyone else's feelings or solve everyone else's problems. Your first responsibility is to your own peace, your time, and your well-being. Protect your energy, and you will give the best version of yourself to the world. 6. Detach from the opinions of others. Imagine you've shared an idea you're proud of. Instead of encouragement, you're met with criticism, indifference, or even mockery. That sting of disappointment. It's real, it lingers, and if you're not careful, it spirals into self-doubt. But pause and ask yourself, why does their opinion hold so much weight over me? The truth is that the need for approval runs deep in all of us. But depending on external validation is like chasing shadows. You can never truly catch it. Real emotional freedom begins the moment you stop letting the opinions of others define your worth. Everyone sees the world through their own lens shaped by their experiences, insecurities, and biases. What someone says about you usually reveals more about them than about you. When you internalize their words, you give them power over your emotions and decisions. Why let anyone else control your narrative? Here's a thought worth holding close. Your worth is not up for debate. It is not tied to praise, criticism, or fleeting opinions. Your worth is intrinsic, unshaken, and beyond external noise. Take a simple example. You wear a new outfit that makes you feel great. A coworker casually comments, "That's an interesting choice." Now, you could let their remark poison your confidence, or you could smile and remind yourself that their opinion doesn't diminish your joy. That is the power of detachment. Epictetus captured this perfectly. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Growth often looks strange to others. Chasing approval may keep you safe, but it also keeps you small. True progress requires being willing to be misunderstood. Here's how to start detaching from opinions. Question their importance. When someone's opinion stings, ask, why does this matter to me? Do they hold authority over my life? Reaffirm your values. Ground yourself in your own goals, principles, and standards, not in what others expect. Practice letting go when criticism arises. Acknowledge it, but don't cling to it. Picture their words as leaves floating downstream, passing, not permanent. Lao Tzu warns, care about people's approval and you will always be their prisoner. Detaching doesn't mean ignoring feedback altogether. Constructive criticism can guide growth, but careless judgment, that's theirs to carry, not yours. Think of it like walking in the rain. You can't stop the downpour of opinions, but you can carry an umbrella. Detachment is that umbrella. It shields you from being soaked by negativity. So the next time someone's words shake your confidence, pause and ask, am I living for them more for me? Choose yourself. Choose your path. And in that choice, you'll find freedom, peace, and authenticity. 7. Respond with silence, not anger. Now picture this. You're in the middle of a heated exchange. Someone says something sharp, hurtful, or deliberately provocative. You feel it instantly. Your heart races, your face heats up, anger surges through you, and your instinct to fire back, to meet force with force, insult with insult. But what if, instead of reacting, you simply chose silence? Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. It is one of the most powerful tools you have against negativity. It does not mean you are conceding. It does not mean you are afraid of confrontation. It means you are wise enough to choose calm over chaos. When you respond in anger, you hand control to the other person. They've succeeded in pulling you into their storm. But when you respond with silence, you keep your power. You rise above their noise. Think of silence as a shield. While others swing wildly with words, your silence absorbs nothing. It reflects everything. Silence can diffuse tension, disarm aggression, and remind others that not every provocation deserves a reaction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When you refuse to mirror someone's hostility, you prove your strength without speaking a word. Here's how to start practicing silence. Pause instead of reacting. When anger rises, stop. Count to 3. Breathe. Let silence do the work. Sometimes, the absence of a reaction is more powerful than any comeback. Speak later with clarity. Silence now doesn't mean silence forever. When emotions settle, you can respond with wisdom instead of heat. Imagine this scenario. Someone insults you in front of others, expecting you to lash out. Instead, you stay silent. You remain composed. In that moment, everyone sees where the real strength lies, not in shouting louder, but in refusing to be shaken. Responding with silence doesn't suppress your feelings, it transforms them. You learn that your peace is worth more than proving a point. Anger burns quickly and leaves ashes behind. Silence, on the other hand, leaves you calm, in control, and untouchable. The next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, your silence is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the mark of someone who has chosen inner power over outer noise. It means you have reached a place of strength where you value your peace of mind more than the impulse to strike back. There is great wisdom in this. The less energy you waste on negativity, the more calm and balanced your life becomes. Silence, in such moments, is not weakness, is power. It carries a message far louder than words. I will not let your behavior dictate my state of mind. Consider a situation. Imagine you are in a meeting and a colleague undermines you, trying to embarrass you before others. You are left with two possible responses. The first is to argue, defend yourself, and get drawn into a heated back and forth. The second is to pause, breathe, and remain silent. By staying silent, you deny them the reaction they are fishing for. You keep your composure, and in doing so, you show everyone in the room who truly commands the higher ground. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence." Why? Because anger survives on fuel and words, reactions, resistance. Silence starves it. When you refuse to engage, you break the cycle, disarm the aggressor, and protect your own well-being. Think of silence as a shield. It deflects insults, a noise without dragging you into battle. Here are a few ways to practice this discipline. Pause before reacting. When provoked, take a breath. That short pause creates space for clarity and prevents impulsive regret. Listen without defending. Often, people only want to vent. Let them. You do not always need to explain or justify yourself. Speak only when necessary. If a response is required, keep it calm, measured, and simple. A Buddhist teaching reminds us, speak only if it improves upon the silence. Remember, silence does not mean suppression. It does not mean ignoring problems. It means preserving your energy for moments where your words truly matter. Think of how often we regret the words spoken in anger. Silence removes that regret. It allows you to reflect and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. In many cases, silence says more than words ever could. The next time someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself, will my response add value or will it only escalate? By choosing silence, you protect your peace, show strength, and retain control of the story. Silence is not the absence of response, it is the presence of wisdom. It is the declaration, your words cannot control me. My peace controls me. And in that, you win the battle without ever raising your voice. Practice gratitude to dissolve anger now. Let us turn to another practice, gratitude. Picture this: you're having one of those days when nothing seems to go right. Your plans collapse, someone speaks to you rudely, and every small inconvenience feels heavier than it should. Frustration builds, anger bubbles up, and you think, why must everything be so difficult today? Now pause. What if, instead of magnifying what is going wrong, you deliberately shifted your attention to what is going right? Gratitude has a remarkable way of disarming anger. It works like a reset button for the mind. Here's a truth: you cannot be truly grateful and angry at the same time. Gratitude interrupts the cycle of negativity and reminds you that, even in hardship, good still exists. Take a simple scenario: you are stuck in heavy traffic, late for an important appointment. The usual response is frustration, honking, and cursing your luck. But try this instead. Take a breath and think of 3 things you are grateful for. Maybe you are thankful to have a car, to have the opportunity awaiting you at your destination, or even for the music playing on the radio. Small shifts like this can transform your emotional state in moments. The Roman statesman Cicero called gratitude not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Why? Because gratitude breeds patience, resilience, and perspective. It teaches us to value what we still have, rather than obsessing over what we lack. Here's how to cultivate this habit: pause and reflect. When anger rises, stop and ask, what can I be thankful for in this moment? Keep a gratitude journal. Each evening, write 3 things that went well, no matter how small. Over time, this rewires your mind to notice the positive. Use gratitude as a reframe. If someone criticizes you harshly, instead of drowning in anger, try reframing. I am grateful for the chance to learn from this feedback, if it wasn't kindly delivered. Buddha once said, "Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn much today, at least we learned a little. If we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't fall sick. If we fell sick, at least we did not die. So let us all be thankful." Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from frustration to perspective. It doesn't deny pain, it simply chooses to prioritize what uplifts rather than what drags you down. The next time anger creeps in, pause and ask, what can I be thankful for right now? You will find that gratitude doesn't just dissolve anger, it replaces it with calm, clarity, and an inner strength that nothing can shake. Reframe criticism as a tool for growth. Finally, let's talk about criticism. Imagine you have shared an idea you are proud of. Maybe at work, maybe with friends, maybe online, and immediately someone tears it apart with harsh words. Your first instinct, defensiveness, hurt, maybe even anger. That reaction is human, but it does not have to be your final response. What if you reframed criticism not as a personal attack, but as an opportunity to grow? Every piece of criticism, no matter how poorly delivered, contains a potential lesson. It can reveal blind spots, challenge assumptions, and push you toward improvement. If you adopt this perspective, criticism loses its sting and becomes a tool for self-betterment. Here's an example. Suppose you are preparing an important presentation and a colleague points out multiple flaws in your work. One reaction is to dismiss them. They are just trying to make me look bad. The other reaction is to pause and ask, is there truth here? Can I use this feedback to improve? If you choose the second path, what felt like an attack becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. As one wise saying puts it, criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish growth without destroying roots. Not all criticism is valid. Some comes from envy, ignorance, or malice. But the skill lies in filtering it, keeping what is constructive, discarding what is not. By reframing criticism, you free yourself from defensiveness. You stop seeing feedback as an enemy and start seeing it as a teacher. This shift transforms moments of discomfort into opportunities for growth. And over time, this mindset makes you stronger, wiser, and more resilient than anger or defensiveness ever could. How to handle criticism with grace. When criticism comes your way, the first step is not to defend yourself, not to fight back, and not to take it personally. The first step is to pause. Take a single breath before reacting. This moment of silence gives you space. It prevents you from becoming a prisoner of your emotions and allows you to choose your response with wisdom rather than impulse. The next step is to evaluate the source. Who is offering this feedback? Is it someone who genuinely cares about your growth, or someone speaking from ignorance, envy, or personal frustration? Ask yourself, does this person's opinion carry weight? Do they see the full picture, or only fragments? Remember, not all criticism is equal, but even poorly delivered words can hide a seed of truth. That is why the wise person always searches for the lesson. Even if the criticism is sharp, unjust, or clumsy, you can still ask, what can I learn? From this, growth often hides in uncomfortable words. Imagine a personal example. A family member criticizes your career choice or lifestyle. You feel the sting. Defensiveness rises within you, but instead of arguing or shutting down, you choose a higher path. You respond calmly. I hear your concerns. I'll reflect on what you've said. Such a response does not mean you agree with them. It means you are mature enough to listen without allowing conflict to escalate. You protect both your peace and your dignity. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus gave us timeless advice on this. If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, he does not know my other faults, else he would not have mentioned only these. What wisdom lies here? Instead of being shaken by the opinions of others, the Stoic accepts criticism as part of the human condition. Proof that people will always speak, judge, and form opinions. The question is not whether they speak, but how you respond. So, the next time someone critiques you, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Is this truly about me, or does it reflect more about them? How can I grow stronger from this moment? Lao Tzu, the ancient sage, reminds us, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Criticism, when faced with the right mindset, becomes a mirror. It reflects not only the world's perception of you, but also your own hidden weaknesses and strengths. It is rarely comfortable, but comfort is not the birthplace of growth. By welcoming feedback, even when it stings, you build resilience, humility, and an unshakable sense of self. Thus, criticism is not an enemy to be avoided, is a teacher in disguise. When you stop fearing it, you begin to see it as a stepping stone toward your best self. Remember, the strongest individuals are not those who silence criticism, but those who transform it into fuel for growth. Master the art of letting go. Now imagine this. You hold a burning coal in your hand, waiting for the chance to throw it at someone who wronged you. Yet the longer you hold it, the more it scorches your skin. This is the nature of anger, resentment, and grudges. They burn you far more deeply than the person you intend to harm. True strength, then, is not in holding on, but in letting go. Letting go does not mean forgetting. nor does it mean excusing or condoning what happened. It means releasing the emotional burden that chains you to the past. It means freeing yourself from the control of what can no longer be changed. The Buddha captured it beautifully. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Reflect on that. How many hours have you wasted replaying moments of betrayal, unfairness, or cruelty? How many nights did you spend turning the same wound over in your mind, only to discover that the hurt deepened while the other person carried on with life, untouched? Consider an example. At work, a colleague takes credit for your idea. You could spend days consumed by the injustice, letting it poison your focus and productivity. Or you could let it go. Letting go does not deny what happened. It simply refuses to allow one act to steal your peace. In choosing release, you preserve your energy for what truly matters: your growth, your future, your opportunities. Lao Tzu offers another profound truth. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Letting go is not only about releasing anger. It is about releasing fear, perfectionism, the illusion of control. It is about loosening your grip on what must pass so that your hands are free to grasp what is to come. How do we practice the art of letting go? Acknowledge your feelings. Do not suppress anger, hurt, or disappointment. Feel them, but do not become them. Reframe the situation. Ask, what is this teaching me? How will this make me stronger? Focus on the present. Letting go is not a gift to the other person, it is a gift to yourself. Your power is always in the here and now, never in the past. Letting go is like releasing a balloon. The longer you hold on, the more it strains you. But when you let it float away, you feel lighter, freer, open to possibility. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, teaches us, do not be disturbed by what is outside your power. Let it go, and you will find peace. This does not mean tolerating injustice or allowing people to harm you. It means choosing your battles with wisdom. It means preserving your energy for what lies within your control. By letting go of what you cannot change, you create room for peace, creativity, and joy. So when anger or regret begins to tighten its grip, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? What would my life look like if I simply let this go? You will find that true strength is not in clinging, it is in release. And in release, you become unshakably strong. Final reflection, these are not just ideas, they are daily tools. By mastering the art of responding to criticism and letting go of resentment, you take command of your emotional life. You protect your peace, you preserve your strength, and you shape a character that cannot be shaken by the opinions or actions of others. Remember, emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It is about rising above them with clarity and strength. Each time you choose to pause instead of react, each time you let go instead of holding on, you grow lighter, freer, and stronger. The unshakable life is built choice by choice, moment by moment, and it is within your reach.